Imagine a land that began as scattered colonies on a distant continent, a place where people escaped kings and empires to build something entirely new. A land that would grow from fragile settlements into one of the most powerful nations the world has ever seen. But the journey of the United States was never simple. It was filled with revolution, civil war, innovation, and global influence. Today, on The Silent Truth, we're uncovering the entire story of how America was born, how it survived its darkest moments, and how it became a superpower that shapes the modern world. Long before the United States existed, the land was home to millions of Native American tribes who had their own cultures, languages, and civilizations. Everything began to change in 1492 when the explorer Christopher Columbus reached the Americas while sailing for Spain. Over the next century, European powers began exploring and claiming land. By the early 1600s, English settlers established colonies along the eastern coast of North America. One of the earliest successful settlements was Jamestown Settlement. Life was extremely harsh, but slowly more settlers arrived, seeking land, trade, and religious freedom. By the 1700s, 13 British colonies had grown across the eastern coast. These colonies were controlled by Britain and ruled by King George III. At first, many colonists accepted British rule, but tensions began to rise when Britain started imposing heavy taxes on the colonies. Events like the Boston Tea Party became powerful symbols of resistance. Colonists believed they should not be taxed without representation. In 1775, conflict between Britain and the colonies turned into open war. The American colonies formed an army led by George Washington. After years of struggle, on July 4, 1776, the colonies declared independence from Britain through the Declaration of Independence. The war continued for several more years, but with support from France, the colonies eventually defeated Britain in 1783. A new nation was born, the United States of America. In the following years, the young nation created its government through the United States Constitution, establishing democracy, elections, and the rule of law. George Washington became the first president in 1789, setting traditions that would guide the country for generations. During the 1800s, the United States expanded rapidly across the continent. In 1803, President Thomas Jefferson purchased a vast territory from France in the Louisiana Purchase, doubling the size of the nation. Settlers moved west, building towns and railroads. However, this expansion also brought conflict with Native Americans and deep disagreements over slavery. By the mid-1800s, the country was divided between northern states, which mostly opposed slavery, and southern states, which depended on it. In 1861, these tensions exploded into the American Civil War. The war became one of the bloodiest conflicts in American history. The Northern Union was led by President Abraham Lincoln, who believed the country must remain united and slavery must end. In 1865, the Union won the war, slavery was abolished, and the United States began rebuilding itself. By the late 1800s and early 1900s, the nation experienced rapid industrial growth. Factories, railroads, and cities expanded quickly. Millions of immigrants arrived seeking opportunity. America began emerging as a global power. When World War I erupted in Europe, the United States eventually joined the war in 1917 and helped the Allies achieve victory. Only 2 decades later, another, even larger conflict began. During World War II, the United States became a decisive force after the attack on Pearl Harbor. American industry, military power, and alliances helped defeat Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. After the war, the United States emerged as one of the two global superpowers. This period led to the long and tense Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. Although the two nations never fought directly, they competed in technology, space exploration, military strength, and global influence. In 1969, the United States achieved a historic milestone when astronauts from NASA landed on the moon during the Apollo 11 moon landing. Meanwhile, inside the country, Americans were fighting for civil rights and equality. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. inspired peaceful movements that challenged discrimination and segregation, changing the nation's social and political landscape. By the late 19th century, the Cold War ended in 1991 with the collapse of the Soviet Union, leaving the United States as the world's dominant superpower. But the new century brought new challenges. On September 11, 2001, the world was shocked by the September 11th attacks, which reshaped global security and foreign policy. Today, the United States remains a powerful nation with enormous influence in technology, culture, science, and global politics. From Silicon Valley innovations to Hollywood movies and international diplomacy, its impact reaches almost every corner of the world. And that incredible journey from small colonies to global power is the story of the United States. If you enjoyed discovering this history with the silent truth, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the stories that shape our world. Your support helps us continue bringing powerful and truthful stories to you. Before you leave, tell us in the comments which moment in American history surprised you the most, and share this video with someone who loves learning about world history. Because sometimes understanding the past is the only way to understand the future.